Going to speak about the role of the Union for assistance to Ukraine's defense in strengthening of Ukraine's defense capacity. We are going to speak with Viktor Tymchenko, head of the Union of Assistance to Ukraine's Defense, Yuriy Chyzhmar, chief of the Union of Military and Patriotic Work and Assistance for Territory Defense, Yaroslav Babych, chief of the Mobilization Center Azov Volunteer Battalion, Kovalyk Aidar Battalion, Sergiy Romanovskyi, Company Command AT's Airmobile Brigade, and Rafael Liukmanov, trainer of Union for Assistance to Ukraine's Defense.
Speak about the role of the Union for Assistance for Ukraine's Defense in strengthening of Ukraine's defensive capacity. Our speakers to cover the subject will be Viktor Tymchenko, the head of the Union, Yuriy Chyzhmar, chief of the Union of Military and Patriotic Work and Assistance for Territory Defense, Yaroslav Babych, chief of Mobilization Center of Azov Volunteer Battalion, Kovalyk from Aidar Battalion, Sergiy Romanovskyi of the 80s Airmobile Brigade, and Rafael Liukmanov, the trainer of the Union for Assistance to Ukraine's Defense. Proszę.
You're welcome. Thank you, dear participants, dear representatives of media. Good day to you. My task, first of all, is to tell you that I represent the Union for Assistance to Ukraine's Defense. Over 80 years ago, we've created a specialized military organization, the Azov, after independence of Ukraine. It was called Union for Assistance to Ukraine's Defense. The Union has over 8,000 of employees. More than 50% are former professional servicemen. Those are colonels, generals, so on and so forth. So all those who used to work in the army, and they have special experience. Besides, we have over 600 educational institutions engaged in training technical specialists. During all this time, they were engaged in preparation of servicemen and young people for servicing in the army. During the whole time, we trained over 500,000 servicemen and experts when we had a respective order from the country. Starting from 2000, we were training 10,000 military specialists, and in 2008 the military order was seized. It was a great mistake because we were trying to preserve all the property which we were maintaining over 23 years, and due to our commanders, our local commanders, and we are represented in 24 oblasts of Ukraine. We consider the Crimea to be Ukrainian, irrespective of the situation, and we count them to be our members. We consider them to be members of our union. We are ready to train specialists in different directions. Those may be drivers of different vehicles, as well as other specialists, because we have proper experience in that field. Since the beginning of aggression against Ukraine, we've created special department of assisting the defensive capacity due to volunteers, due to our patriots, real patriots, genuine patriots who were assigning to the ATO zone as volunteers. They were working hand in hand with us, and we were training them as much as we could. As of today, the union is active. The union is capable of training as it previously was in Ukraine. So we are prepared to train 20 or 25,000 of specialists for our army. We still have the bases, and we have all the opportunities to work on our statutory tasks. I would like to express my gratitude to all those volunteers who came up to get prepared for protection of motherland. And having a proper experience, having opportunity, we are ready to do so, to prepare those specialists. Thank you. So Yuriy Chyzhmar. Hello to everyone. I'm the member of Maidan, and I was the founder of 800. We came up to illustrate this union, and we wanted to make this organization do everything for defense capacity of our country. And we are coping with our task. Our cooperation with people who are now heading the union is big. People understand us, and we achieve a lot. No doubt, reforming of the union is something that shall be there, but we do not have to break anything with a knee. We shall have an approach like to the tree, which will give much more fruits in future. We created several training bases. At those bases, we've trained nearly 1,200 volunteers. When we saw that the level of preparation within the army is still insufficient, we started training people in Lviv, in Ternopil. We have managed to arrange the situation the following way. Different brigades received our instructors, our experts, and advanced their preparedness and training, and it means additional 200 servicemen. Also, we had special courses and trained more than 200 people who were granting political education in the army. Starting from September, we have a school of operators of pilotless vehicles. During several months of activities of the school, we've managed to train 70 people who are now at the front line and who are doing their best for our reconnaissance to be the best. I would like to mention that our organization, during my work as its head of union, was glad to contact with all the civil society organizations and all the experts. We are welcoming everyone, and we are ready to make everyone members of our organization, both collective and individual members. We are ready to share our experience and our databases. I would like to mention that as of today, we have the success formula. We understand what shall be done on the basis of defensive capacity enhancement. We shall launch some evening courses. All the patriotic citizens shall come to those evening courses and be trained in main military specialties. Subsequently, we're ready to arrange for courses during the weekends. Also, we have 1 week courses. So everyone may come and receive military specialty and be ready to protect motherland. The Union for Assistance to Ukraine's Defense is ready to foster the situation like that. Hello, dear guests, dear media. The forces were not ready to be engaged in anti-terrorist operation from the very beginning, but the Union for Assistance of Ukraine's Defense helped train servicemen which were mobilized to the armed forces of Ukraine. They granted qualified assistance and brought some new approaches and new techniques of training people, servicemen, to the war. So we had some hardships while carrying out the ATO when servicemen used methods of training and they granted certain result. That is why I believe that Union for Assistance of Ukraine's Defense is the organization which is vital for highly qualified, so to say, how to call it, for highly qualified preparation. Thank you. If to speak about servicemen from your company, yes, we had trainers from the union who helped to train servicemen. how many servicemen had an opportunity to participate in such trainings and what were the spots they were fighting in. More than 90 servicemen were trained. They were carrying out military actions under Luhansk, Lysychansk and Shastya towns, as well as 32 checkpoints and some settlements. Let's listen to another colleague, Yaroslav Babych, Chief of Mobilization Center, Azov Volunteer Battalion. Hello to everyone, good health to you. Recently, we made a decision to create the volunteer battalions and particularly Azov Volunteer Battalion. So we faced this task. We see lack of desire to protect motherland. The one coming to the battalion shall have not only this desire to protect, but some minor qualification and some knowledge in the sphere of military action. Ukraine was not involved in the war during the whole time of its independence. The armed forces of Ukraine were collapsing. That is why it was difficult to create a platform on which the specialists may be trained. So that was our task, to create such platform simultaneously with creating the volunteer battalion. The Union for Assistance to Ukraine's Defense is not the first institution we resorted to. First of all, we came to the Ministry of Defense. Unfortunately, the NATO-certified specialists failed to organize proper preparation of representatives of volunteer battalion. But the civil society organizations started helping us for free, because we used money from people, from volunteers, from just citizens of Ukraine. And we've started arranging preparation and training of our young fighters. Those were some courses of young fighters, so to say, starting from May until today. It was arranged due to the Union of Assistance to Ukraine's Defense and its central department. Totally, as of today, we managed to train more than 1,000 fighters. The main specialties include basic fire training, tactics of small groups, as well as medical assistance to those wounded. That is some arranging of traps and counteracting to traps and mine security, as well as tracing the location of mines. Beside these courses, the instructors of Union were closely cooperating with volunteers at the place of location of battalion. The main result is high efficiency of battalion actions under war conditions. If to compare to other battalions, if to speak about victims during such fights, and it shows us the high level of preparation of the instructors and people whom they train. The decision taken as regards of Azov Volunteer Battalion, of creating on the basis of Azov Volunteer Battalion, of command of the National Guard of Ukraine, and creation of experimental platform with using new types, new tactics, and new weapons. And it allows us to see that Azov Battalion is not only high motivated, but a professional one. And we express thanks to the Union.
Good afternoon. Since April, those months started, we repeatedly addressed the Minister of Defense, different departments, with our forecasts of the situation. And actually, let's say they outlined the possible activities. but the rigidity of the state machinery didn't allow us to change everything rapidly. So we decided together with the, let's say, we decided to assist the Ukrainian army. We decided to do something on our own. We understood that the Russian military machinery is prepared for the war, and our military organization is not really prepared to fight back. That's why we concentrated on the asymmetric response and the activity of the small groups. That's why the whole process of the training was based on our experience, which was accumulated till today, and which includes the experience of many advanced nations in the world. And as a result, we managed to do the following. There is a phrase of the military man, which is the biggest sin of the, let's say, military commander is the, let's say, undertraining of his subordinates. That's why we can concentrate and focus on the very, let's say, comprehensive training which can be used today. My colleagues already mentioned that there is some result already achieved. Therefore, perhaps based on those results, we were approached, well, not only the voluntary battalions, also the Ministry of Defense addressed us or approached us. We trained the, let's say, the CCUs and whoever else, which based in Mykolaiv, and some of the guys who went to the Brigade 80, also with some of the, let's say, clandestine groups of guys who were temporarily stationed in the Mykolaiv region. And very serious, let's say, organizations approached us, which in those days remained without the instructors or the personnel who can do something. So this is the very brief information, and the success is with us, and the luck is with us. My question is to Viktor. You train the, let's say, the guys to fight in Donbass. According to you, you were successful in doing that, and then we sometimes have the situation similar to what we had in Ilvansk, which actually, as a result of which thousands of our guys lost their lives. And then the checkpoint number 32, which was again the case with checkpoint 31. What would be your assessment of the government, of the authorities today, what they do? My answer is somebody has to answer for that, be responsible for that, because so far we have something like that. The majority of generals who have high offices, and they have their subordinates, too many of those, but nobody even thought how to train the guys, how to fight, how to, let's say, be involved in wartime affairs. I don't know, I can't answer that. This is now the matter of the military prosecutor's office, and I believe they will bring that case to the logical end. But the military commanders had to really to be prepared for everything, and they had to think about every guy and save their lives. I understand, I would call this the loss of the, let's say, special training. There was no consultative councils. They failed even to create the most important. There were no experienced guys who already had the experience of fighting in Afghanistan, some hot bads, whatever. Those who actually were experienced even during the World War II, they had to do something about that and use all their knowledge and experience. But what we had, those tragic events, is the result of our under-training. Okay, again, another question to Viktor. Are there in Ukraine something similar to your society or organization you take care of training our guys today? Well, until those events, there were none. And now they actually set up something, by the way, they created that out of patriotic, let's say, patriotism. There is some Gaidak, they call Sagidaks. They have desire, they have, but they have nothing. They have neither the base, nothing else, So we suggest that they should join us, because to create today some kind of other groupings when we have the base and the experience, and we can really, professional, do something about that. The majority of the military guys the Azov, actually, the voluntary army assistance organization. And now we have everything separated. We have nothing. We have no benefits. We have no privileges. And this organization was turned into some economic entity. Only this structure exists now, and only this structure can be used as a foundation for creating some other formations. But they have to be subordinated to one real professional organization, because 88 years back in 1988 this organization was created, and they were developed all this time. Again, I repeat, since 1927 they was called also our hymn and the TSOAF, and when our independent state appeared, we changed this name to the Society to Assist the Army and Defense of Ukraine. Unfortunately, in different years, our authorities did not failed to understand that this was something which is required by the whole state, and they had the platform which could be used to create something different. No, in those years, that organization like the South, they had some, let's say, benefits using the land or whatever else. But now they actually brought that to the year, and they create a kind of the organization, self-supporting one. So do whatever you wish to do using this structure. Now there is another, let's say, burden of that society. I would like to ask the mass media. We bow low to those professionals which managed to preserve that organization. I would like to draw your attention to the following: that the factories, let's say the enterprises of different style and different, let's say, subordination, they privatized. They were privatized. Something like that. That is private ownership, but something, we do assist with the Ministry of Defense. This is our, let's say, assets and the property. And I don't know why the state did not approach us so far, hasn't approached us, but we hope that will do. How many guys have we trained since April this year? Over 4,000, general speaking, or all in all, more than 200 specialists, like what we call the deficit specialization. I'm really something which edifies my heart, that absolutely our trainee went to the front. He was actually maimed, he was wounded, but he actually carries something in his heart, and he's proud. Again, over 4,000 all in all, and over 200 and those who were trained to use the weapons. All of them are volunteers. And unfortunately, there was no request from the Minister of Defense, as was really the case in the early years. But how come you have such a huge experience? How come that this Ukraine found itself in the face of this aggression was absolutely, let's say, disassembled, I would say, or ruined army? Well, actually, I was my military career. I finished as the deputy head of the military training school in Donetsk. There were only 4 of this kind of colleges in Ukraine. In those days, I tried to persuade our minister that it's not possible. Actually, you should not just eliminate this kind of military school in the East. Could be kind of pedagogical, not military, because the pedagogues must be part of the army. We understood that was something which we lacked. Well, when we were talking about let's say, the pure patriotism is one thing, but it never happened. And then for 18 years, I worked in this organization, and I proposed that let's embark on some systematic rails. In 2005, there were 5,000. That was kind of state request, and we trained those. In 2008, it was the end of that story, generally speaking. Next year, 2009, I actually approached the Minister of Defense and say, let's do something. But when the answer I got, so far we do not need anything. Those are military professionals. They said, now we do not need something like that. What kind of response was that? And I can report to you, I had sent some letters. I had meetings with the ministers. I actually had some requests in writing, but even during the days of aggression, we sent the official letters. We initiated the volunteers and the people who were not, let's say, who were actually did care for Ukraine, and we actually came up with a name, like kind of Lugansk. There was a person who with money and said I was going to assist you, to help you, because we didn't have enough money. We had something just to kind of enough just to keep us going. But generally speaking, almost let's say if we are talking about the taxation, almost 80 million have to pay each year in the form of taxes, and we have to prepare, let's say, 205 every year in order to, let's say, we had to keep our facilities. We had to develop further. We received new military equipment. We had to train the people. What kind of the financial source you have today? We deal only with the technical specialists like the drivers and some other specialization. We even train the cook. I mean the okay, the guys who take care of the cooks actually. Yeah, we had to prepare to preserve the jobs and give them possibility to work. I had 205,000 drivers each year. Sorry, I would like to draw attention to the fact that the state actually responded to the setting up of this kind of society to assist the army, but in very surprising, amazing way. And actually, one of the agreement, coalition agreement to 18, whatever, which is that in order to enhance the training of the military in Ukraine, they have to eliminate all. Let's say to cancel this, to dissolve this kind of organization. And we actually can't understand what kind of organization is going to take this place. Whose initiative was that? I don't know who was the initiator, but could be the initiation coming from Samopomich. Yeah, actually, one of the let's say the purpose of this press conference, as far as I can understand, to convey to the people the message. First of all, absolutely the blatant stupidity of this kind of organization, and I would like to emphasize that according to, let's say, this institution of the public organization, this is not the state structure, but a public organization. It can be eliminated by the decision of the founders, and the founders, they're smart people and they're intelligent people. They understand that this is something which is badly needed by the state. That's why this absolute stupidity on the part of the Minister of Defense, let's say, order. Yeah, actually, I should start not from the complaints. Actually, I heard that from those people who went to defend their country. And please understand, I can't find any other word, but this is absolutely a stupid thing to do. And well, it's kind of raining, because they know that we have a powerful base, which was supported over the period of time of 23 years. This kind of legal collision. Several laws were violated in the basic law constitution, because the public organization cannot be eliminated. My colleague already mentioned that. And there is also the economic and civil code, which fix it. That if you're talking about the real estate, or let's say the mobile property, is to 10 years, and that's it, full stop. We were there was a transparent position over this organization by us, but now we have to do something like this. So that was a kind of preventive activity, let's say, if you will. And we went to the Verkhovna Rada just to warn that those who are called the democratic electees, that please do not do something like that from the very first step of yours, something like stupid like that. We are going to try to defend our position with those people like we are. So, I lived a long life, and I lived through different years and different cases, but actually, all our society will not allow those raiders to become the, let's say, the owners of that property which we possess today. Powerful, let's say, again, I repeat myself, powerful enterprises and factories became the property or the assets of the private guys. And those guys who are coming to work with us will become one, let's say, among the owners of this property, but not somebody else from outside. You know, that's why there is some kind of assumption. My colleague mentioned that those who were the initiators to that item to 14, they said that was not us, but we understand who were trying to start from scratch, organize this, or to set up this organization. Since we did not didn't participate in that decision, they at the meeting not inviting us. I used the legal language. We approached the Minister of Justice with a well-justified, let's say, their opinion which ran counter to the decisions they made. There was a kind of public organization. We approached the minister. We sent a letter to all the political parties. And all our, let's say, addresses, we had the response only from the bloc of Petro Poroshenko. They actually acknowledged the receipt of that letter, and they actually directed that for consideration of somebody. Nobody else of other political party respond to us. The Minister of Justice informed us that the ministry had their resolution, and the department has to warn about the illegal or legitimate actions. Generally speaking, about the term elimination is stupid, generally speaking, but eliminate the public organization and NGO is nonsense. Unfortunately, we don't have any more time for other questions. Thank you very much. I believe that the media heard you, and they are going to disseminate the information. And whenever we have a chance, we are going to ask the representatives of political parties about that subject matter. Thank you very much, and we are going to have next press briefing in a minute from now.